Okay, so since the first presenter is not available, I will proceed with discussing the topic for today. So I would also like to remind everyone that you are preparing to become future teachers and professionalism is expected during your scheduled presentation. If you anticipate that you will not be able at your assigned time, you have the option to submit a recorded video presentation. And this will allow us to play your presentation without disrupting the regular flow and schedule of our class discussion. So this Zoom session will automatically record your attendance, including the time you enter and leave the meeting since we are using the licensed Zoom account. Okay? Excuse me. So last meeting we discussed about the introduction to learner-centered teaching. Learner-centered teaching builds on the idea that meaningful learning happens when students are actively involved in the process rather than being passive recipient of information. So this approach emphasizes understanding learners' needs, experiences, interests, and abilities, and using this as the foundation for instruction. So key principles include active engagement of students, collaboration, self-reflection, and flexibility in teaching strategies. As a review, this perspective reminds us that effective teaching is not only about delivering content, but also about creating conditions where learners can think critically, ask questions, and take responsibility for their own learning. So, a clear contrast can be seen between teacher-centered and learner-centered approach as what we discussed last time. Again, teacher-centered teaching often focuses on lectures as what we did, uniform pacing, and the teachers as the primary source of knowledge. While learner-centered teaching prioritizes interaction, discussion, problem solving, and real-life application. So revisiting this distinction helps clarify why modern classrooms are shifting toward learner-centered practices, especially in diverse learning environments. It reinforces the idea that no single methods fits all learners, and that adaptability and responsiveness are essential qualities of effective teaching. So the roles of teachers and learners also change significantly in learner-centered classroom. Teachers act as a facilitator, guides, and designer of learning experiences, while learners become active participants who collaborate, reflect, and apply what they learn. So this review set the stage of the course by clarifying expectation and intended outcomes, such as improved learner engagement, deeper understanding, and the development of lifelong learning skills, and prepares learners to actively participate in upcoming lessons with a shared understanding of your responsibilities and the purpose of the course. Okay? Okay. I just want to share my screen for a while. Okay. So the second topic or the chapter two, the chapter two focus on theoretical foundation of learner-centered learning. The theoretical foundation of learner-centered learning emphasizes that effective education begins with an understanding of how learners think, feel, and interact with their environment. And these theories explain why active engagement leads to deeper understanding than a passive listening. They also highlight the importance of prior knowledge, motivation, and social interaction in shaping learning outcomes. So a learner-centered classroom is grounded on the belief that learning is an active and meaningful process. So teachers who understand learning theories are better equipped to design instruction that responds to real learner needs. And this foundation moves teaching away from rigid routines, no, toward purposeful practice. Learning theories serve as a guide for making informed instructional decisions. They provide a shared language for understanding how learning happens in diverse contexts. So constructivist learning theories play a central role in learner-centered education because it views learners as active constructors of knowledge. So learners interpret new information through the lens of their previous experiences and understanding. So learning becomes meaningful when our students connect new ideas to what they already know. No, classroom guided by constructivism encourage inquiry, no, questioning and exploration. Teacher design tasks that challenge learners to think critically and solve problems. Mistakes are treated as part of the learning process rather than failure. So, and this approach values understanding over memorization. So knowledge is developed gradually, no, through reflection and experience. In constructivist classrooms, learning activities are open-ended and problem-based. No? So our student may work on real-life scenarios that require analysis and decision-making. Such tasks help learners see the relevance of lessons beyond examination. Teachers act as a facilitator who guide learners through questioning and feedback because learners are encouraged to explain their thinking and justify their answers. So this interaction deepens comprehension and builds confidence because, again, learning becomes more personal and meaningful, and the classroom environment support curiosity and exploration. Humanistic learning theory brings attention to the emotional and personal dimension of learning. It recognizes that learners are not only intellectual beings, but also individual with feelings, no, values, and aspirations. Learning is more effective when students feel safe, respected, and valued. So a supportive environment encourages learners to participate openly and honestly. So teachers guide by humanistic principles focus on building positive relationship. They listen to learners' concern and acknowledge their efforts. And this approach nurtures self-esteem and intrinsic motivation. Personal growth becomes an important as academic success. Humanistic theory, no? No? So humanistic theory and experiential learning theories. No? So humanistic learning theory brings, no, into attention, no? So this will be the constructivist learning theory, no? So the social interaction, the active learning, and prior knowledge. Now, so again, the role of teacher, no? You are just only the facilitator of learning, designer of learning experience, and assessor of learning. So in the application in the classroom, we have inquiry-based learning, problem-based learning, and project learning or project-based learning. So humanistic learning theory brings attention to the emotional and personal dimension of learning. It recognizes that learning or learners are not only intellectual beings but also individuals with feelings, values, and aspirations. No? So learning is more effective when students feel safe, respected, and valued. A supportive environment encourages learners to participate openly and honestly, as I mentioned. Okay? So, the fundamental concept of humanism is the student-centered approach, the self-directed learning, and emotional and social development. Now, what will be the importance of experience in learning? Learning through experience, learning involves, no, engaging students in hands-on activities that facilitate deeper understanding, making theoretical concept more relatable and applicable to real-life situation. So reflection on experience. No? You may advise your students, no, to reflect on experience to allow them to critically analyze your learning events, no, or your students' learning events, enabling them to gain insights, enhance their problem-solving skills, and make connection between theory and practice. So, another is the application of knowledge. The application of knowledge ensures that your students can utilize what they have learned in practical context, no? Enhancing their ability to transfer skills and concept to the new situation effectively. Again, understanding learners and learning diversity begins with recognizing that no two learners are exactly the same. No, each elements or each learners, no, enters the classroom with unique backgrounds, abilities, interests, motivation, and prior experiences that shape how learning occurs. No, and these individual differences influence how learners process information, respond to instruction, and demonstrate understanding. Because a learner-centered classroom acknowledges this diversity as a strength rather than a challenge. No? You as teachers, no, who understand learners deeply are better prepared to design meaningful and responsive instruction. And this perspective encourages respect for individuality and fairness in learning opportunities. Teaching become more intentional and empathetic, no? Learning environment becomes spaces where differences are valued. So, learning style and multiple intelligences highlight the varied ways learners understand and express knowledge. Because some learners grasp, no, concepts through visual, while others prefer listening, discussion, or hands-on activities. Strengths may emerge in language, logic, music, movement, and interpersonal interaction. So recognizing these differences helps teachers vary instructional methods. Lessons become more engaging when learners can use their strength. And this flexibility increases participation and confidence. Learner becomes more accessible. Diversity in learning approaches is acknowledged and respected. So the strategies for implementation. Okay, so we need to create a safe learning environment, as I mentioned. Okay, so create a safe learning environment is a vital, no, for encouraging our student to participate, allowing for open communication and nurturing an atmosphere where students feel comfortable taking risks, no, in their learning. Experiential learning activities, no, such as simulation, as I mentioned, projects, field trips, and provide the opportunities for you to engage actively with the material, promoting retention and understanding through practical involvement. Promoting emotional intelligence in educational setting helps students recognize and manage your emotions, fostering a supportive community where collaboration, understanding, empathy are prioritized. Okay, so next will be the social learning theory in collaborative learning. So we have observation and modeling, no? Role of reinforcement and learning in social context. No? So what will be the benefits of collaborative learning? Number one, peer interaction and support. No? So we will be able, let's say, for example, we will be able to give a scenario or a situation, then group your student, let's say 3 or 5 in a group, and interact, no, related to the topic that was assigned or situation that was assigned to your group. No, it develop your communication skills and it can enhance your critical thinking at the same time. Okay, so techniques for collaboration, as what I have mentioned: group projects, peer teaching, and discussion groups. So what will be the implication? No? Because again, shifting teachers' roles is very important, no? From authority to guide, no? Because in contemporary classroom, no, educator transition from being the sole authority to becoming facilitators who support student exploration and critical thinking, fostering a more inclusive atmosphere. We encourage our student agency, no? Empowering students to take ownership of their learning process is a crucial one. No, this shift cultivates independent thinkers who are more engaged and motivated to pursue their academic interests. No? So, fostering a collaborative environment, no? Creating opportunities for collaboration among students, enhance interpersonal skills and teamwork, because a classroom that encourages group activities promotes a sense of community and shared responsibility. So, the role of teachers evolve in learner-centered classroom. Again, teachers must, or the teacher evolves in learner-centered classroom, and the teacher become facilitators, mentors, and guides. No, they design learning experiences rather than simply deliver content. So observation and reflection guide instructional decisions. Teacher responds to learners' needs in real time, and professional judgment becomes essential. Teaching requires flexibility and creativity as educators model lifelong learning. Okay? So, the curriculum design consideration. We need to consider the integrating various learning theories. A well-rounded curriculum incorporates multiple learning theories such as constructivism and behaviorism to cater to diverse learning styles and preferences, ensuring holistic educational experiences. No? Developing assessment strategies. Okay? Effective assessment strategies should not only evaluate knowledge acquisition but also the application of skills and critical thinking, providing a comprehensive view of student learning and progress. Aligning educational objectives with established learning theories ensures that teaching practices are grounded in research, enhancing the relevance and effectiveness of the curriculum for our student success. No? What are the challenges and solutions? Siyempre, we encountered resistance to change, no? And many educators may be hesitant to adopt new teaching methodologies due to comfort with traditional practices. So, addressing this resistance through professional development is vital for fostering innovation. Because during our time, talagang we are wasting our time writing in the green board, no? Yung content ng books, din susulatin, matatapos, uwi. But this time, no, we need to balance structure and flexibility, no? Striking a balance between a structured learning environments and flexibility needed for students-driven exploration is essential for maximizing engagement and learning outcomes. Then, addressing diverse learning needs, no? We need to recognize as teacher and accommodate the diverse learning needs of our students as fundamental. No? Differentiation strategies can be implemented to ensure that all students receive appropriate support and challenges. No? Okay, but before I end, no, I just want to summarize the content of this chapter 2. No? Again, as what I have mentioned, constructivist learning theory is grounded in the understanding that learning is an active process in which learners create meaning from their experiences. No? Knowledge is an active process in which learners create meaning from their experiences. Knowledge is not simply delivered from teacher to student, but is formed as learners interpret information through their existing ideas and real-life context. And this perspective shift attention from teaching as transmission to learning as construction. No? So learners actively engage with content, question assumptions, and recognize understanding. We as teaching informed by constructivism requires thoughtful design, of learning experiences. It also requires patience, flexibility, and trust in learners' capacity to think. That's why I will assign everyone to discuss a topic, no? Because learning becomes personal, reflective, and meaningful. Education moves closer to how people naturally learn outside the school. Central to constructivism is the role of prior knowledge in shaping new understanding because you have an idea already, no? On how the teacher deliver their presentation, the topic, no, at the same time. So this prior knowledge is shaping new understanding. So you as learner comes to the classroom with beliefs, experiences, and sometimes misconception that influence from new information is processed. No? And this existing ideas serve as the foundation upon which new learning is built. When teaching ignores prior knowledge, learners often becomes shallow or fragmented because effective teachers assess what learners already know before introducing new concept. The introduction connects new ideas to familiarize experiences, and learning becomes more coherent and durable. Understanding grows progressively rather than abruptly. Okay. Constructivist theory, no, emphasizes active engagement as a requirement for deep learning. So our learners must interact with content through discussion, exploration, and application. So passive listening rarely leads to lasting understanding. So activities such as problem solving, inquiry tasks, no, and case analysis allow learners to test ideas. Engagement promotes curiosity and ownership of learning. As teachers, design tasks that require thinking rather than memorization. Because during our time, no, you need to be good in memorization. Learners participate as thinkers and decision makers. Learning becomes intellectually stimulating and purposeful. So meaning making is another defining feature of constructivist learning. Learners seek to understand not just what something is, but why it matters and how it works. No? Concepts gain meaning, no, when learners see relevance to real situation. Abstract ideas becomes clearer when applied to authentic problems. So teachers encourage learners, no, to explain ideas in their own words. Reflection help learners clarify understanding. So learning becomes connected rather than isolated. Knowledge is understood as usable and it must be transferable. So inquiry plays a vital role in constructivist classroom. Take note of it. Most commonly lumalabas sa board exam to. No? Inquiry plays a vital role in constructivist classroom. Learners are encouraged to ask questions, explore possibilities, and investigate issues. Questions drive learning rather than simply checking recall. So teachers support inquiry by creating open-ended tasks. No? So our learners develop skills in reasoning and evidence-based thinking. Inquiry nurtures curiosity and independence. So learning becomes exploratory rather than rigid. No? The classroom transforms into a community of inquiry. And social interaction is essential in constructivist learning. Learners construct understanding through dialogue with peers and teachers. A while ago, we discussed about the collaboration. No? So group work. No? So discussion allows learners to compare ideas and refine thinking. So explaining ideas to others strengthens comprehension. Collaborative learning exposes learners to multiple perspectives. And our teachers structure interaction to encourage respectful exchange. No? Learning becomes both individual and shared knowledge. Developed through communication. Okay? So the role of teacher changes significantly with constructivist practice. Teachers act as a facilitator rather than as all authorities. No? So, hindi laging teacher. Dapat students ang nag-prefer for. At nagpa-facilitate lang ang teacher. Guidance replaces direct instruction as the dominant approach. Teachers pose questions that stimulate thinking. Feedback focuses on reasoning rather than correctness alone. Observation informs instructional adjustment. Teaching becomes responsive and dynamic. Professional judgment becomes central to instruction. So our learners assume greater responsibility in constructivist classroom because they are encouraged to monitor their understanding and reflect on progress. Now, learning goals become shared rather than imposed. Learners make choices in how they explore content. Responsibility fosters independence and confidence. Mistakes are viewed as opportunities for learning. No? Learners develop resilience and persistence. Learning becomes self-directed and empowering. Okay? So, constructivist learning theory provides a strong foundation for learner-centered teaching, and it reflects learners as active thinkers and meaning makers. No? Teaching becomes intentional, flexible, and responsive. Learning environments support inquiry and collaboration. Knowledge is constructed rather than received. Understanding becomes deep and transferable. Professional practice is strengthened through reflection. Education becomes truly learner-centered. Okay, so so the theoretical foundation of learner-centered learning emphasized that effective education begins with a deep understanding of how learners acknowledge acquired knowledge, no? Develop skills and construct meaning. Okay, so I think that's it for topic number 2. Do you have any question, clarification?